And that, he doesn't want to use that as an excuse. But it's hard for me anytime a quarterback has anything going on with his upper body. Skip, that's how he throws the ball. So if your finger, your thumb, your elbow, your shoulder, that's going to impact the accuracy. Without accuracy, I don't care how talented a quarterback is, how fast he can run, or how far he can throw the football. What good is he can throw the ball 100 yards if you can't hit the target? Because I guarantee you, ain't no receiver going to be 100 yards down the field when you throw it to him. So, and we'll see him, Skip, we talked about it the other night. I said, Skip, when you ever seen Aaron Rodgers miss throws like Sammy Watkins? He make that throw in his sleep. The one he had to Lazard coming across on the shallow. He makes that Aaron Rodgers can backpedal and throw and hit that throw. Okay. So it told me something was going on. And I didn't think it was just mental. But he had tape on his hand, kind of like Brady had when he had that open cut in his palm, Skip. He had like a glove or something, like he had it taped very heavily. It's impacting his play. I'm not saying, Skip, this is impacting their play. That's going all of a sudden their record was going to be better than 500. I'm not going to say that, but it's hard for me to say that it's not, considering that what I've seen Aaron Rodgers. Skip, that man has 7 interceptions. When was the last time we saw Aaron Rodgers have 7 interceptions in a season?
Well, 3 at Detroit the week before Dallas, and they fell to 3 and 6.
Skip, that man goes seasons and throw 4 interceptions. He throws 3 in a game. He's got 7 with 6. He got 7 interceptions with 6 and 10, so 4 and 10. With all 4 and 7 with 6 games to go. That's not Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, this thumb is impacting his ability to throw the football accurately.
Okay, I'm going to give you some of the above. But I'm going to remind you, Aaron Rodgers to me is the all-time master media manipulator. He knows exactly what he speaks when it comes to speaking to the media.
You don't believe his thumb is broken?
I believe he made a non-excuse because he made it clear it is not hampering me, but it's busted. It's broken, right? And it started on the McAfee show, and he's obviously a paid contributor to the show. And it sounded like that Pat McAfee sort of set him up by asking him, by the way, is the thumb broken? I don't know exactly how he asked it, but it gave Aaron the entree to say, well...
If it's not affecting you, shouldn't have said anything about it. Yeah. Skip, I can't say, well, I'm late for work. Well, what happened with your car? Your car broke down? No, my car is fine. Well, then why the hell were you late for work? Or why did you not show up for work on time?
So once the subject got broached on the McAfee show, then the media in the open media session at his locker dived in, and he obviously acknowledged and ran with it to some degree, but he didn't use it as the all-out excuse that he could have, where he could have just said, I just can't throw the football the way I used to throw it.
Right.
The problem with his argument is, as bad as he was at Detroit, and certainly as bad as he was on Thursday night against Tennessee, there was an aberration game. I guess he made miracles, but I first guessed it, and I told you, he was born to beat the Dallas Cowboys. You scoffed at my theory, but it's almost like we look back at that draft, and Dallas passed him twice at 11 and 20 as he fell down to, what was it, 24th that he went to Green Bay, and he had to sit in that green room, and Dallas passed him twice for defensive lineman. Fine. DeMarcus Ware is a great player.
He's on the ballot to go to the Hall of Fame.
Marcus Pierce was a decent player, but obviously he wasn't a quarterback, and he wasn't Aaron Rodgers, and you know the rest of the story. The point is that here's what I'm going to take to my bank. Our man Lil Wayne is the ultimate Packer fan to me.
Right.
And he knows what of he speaks. He is a student of your game. He is a student of the Packers. He knows a lot of people inside the organization and in the locker room. And so when Wayne speaks publicly about the Packers, I am all ears or all eyes in the case of Twitter, because you remember what he tweeted after the Detroit debacle. He said, RIP to the season. We should have gotten rid of 12 before the season. That's a mouthful. And yet I'm taking that to my bank because I think that whole organization is seeing decline in Aaron Rodgers to the point that it's getting into the scary zone, and that Dallas was more of the miraculous aberration against the team that he lives to beat, because you know his track record against Dallas. It's just been phenomenal, and for me, phenomenally sickening. But let's just quickly show what happened against the Dallas Cowboys. This was the bounce-back game, and it made Wayne happy for a minute, but only for a minute because he knew what was coming. So I think Wayne sat back and said, fine, but I know what's coming because you just pointed out what came after that on 4 nights later on a Thursday night at home against Tennessee, who's very good on defense. But these are throws Aaron Rodgers used to make in his sleep.
Yeah.
You sit back and you say, who's the real Aaron Rodgers? I think it's more that guy against Tennessee. I think it's more the guy we've seen most of the year. You can certainly go to that jumping off point of the last fling against the Giants.
Right.
And he got his hand hit. I don't know if I don't know, is it a hairline fracture? I don't know what the medical exactly is on the thumb.
So you believe if Aaron Rodgers did not have this injury, he would still look this bad?
Yep, I do. And the other thing that is troubling, and I think it's troubling to people in the organization, Aaron Rodgers used to be able to use his legs like crazy.
Yeah.
He bedeviled the Dallas Cowboys as much with his legs as his arm because he was athletic. He could take off and sting you when you least expected it. And he had years, I look back, in 2016, he ran for 369 yards. For Aaron Rodgers, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So far this year, he's run 16 times for a grand total of 64 yards. He just doesn't run much anymore because I think he doesn't want to run much anymore. And it takes some of his aura away on the field. He's not as big a threat because he does not take off and run for first downs the way he used to.
Yeah, but I think the thing is, Skip, he's looking to throw the ball. So anytime he escapes the pocket, he's looking to throw the football. Even Mahomes is looking to throw it, but he won't hesitate. Oh, he sees a crease, you playing cover 2, and guys got their back to him, he's out the gate. Yeah. And he's not Lamar Jackson, but those 10 yards and those chain movers, they hurt just the same. Yeah. Skip, I just believe that. I don't believe that if there was nothing wrong with Aaron Rodgers, he would look this bad. I'm not saying he would be looking like the 2-time back-to-back MVP of the last 2 years. I'm not saying he's going to have that type of season. Yeah. But it's just hard for me to believe that the throws that he's missing, that we've seen him routinely make throughout his career, all of a sudden seems to be a problem. There has to be more going on. And I understand he brought it up, so he allowed us to open the door.
Yep.
But it's just hard for me to believe that thumb is not having some impact. And he can say, well, it's not as bad as Dak. Well, you don't know. You didn't see Dak's x-rays. Dak, your doctors don't know what went on with Dak. Dak doctors don't know what went on with you. So it's easy for you to say, well, it couldn't have been that bad because you're still playing. But no. Nah,
and then the final point is, when Aaron doesn't play up to MVP standards, at least in the regular season, because he's been a disaster in the postseason. Obviously, back-to-back years, they had the #1 seed and lost home games, and he stunk in both those games.
Yes.
Especially against Brady in the first game in the NFC Championship game. But on top of that, when you've got the vaccination controversy and then you got the ayahuasca controversy, his act is a tough one to swallow for the organization because it's diminishing returns. What have you done for me lately? It's tolerance versus performance. And after a while, he is wearing out his welcome in Green Bay.
Skip, day-to-day wouldn't have cared if he drunk a fifth of scotch. If he's going to go out there and play at an MVP level, they'll have some in the locker room for him at halftime if that's what's going to get him going.
I'll buy that.
But
they would have ayahuasca at halftime.
They absolutely would. But, Skip, it's just hard for me to believe because I've seen the guy over his career. Skip, the man, I can't remember the last time Aaron Rodgers had this many interceptions in a season, let alone with 6-7 games to go in a season. Yeah. And look, they're on the road against the Eagles and the Bears, and then they get a bye week. He probably could have used the bye week a little earlier. I don't remember a team having a bye week this late in the season, Skip.
Yeah, I got it. But when I watch him talk, he just looks weather-beaten to me.
Yeah.
He looks like he's a little worn out. Like LeBron now doesn't look he looks fresh to me, and he's older than Aaron is.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, he's not older.
Well, but he's
right, in the NBA, yes. But Skip, it's just at some point in time, you just can manifest stuff. You keep talking about you're tired and doing other things, and before you know it, your body's like, well, what are we doing out here then? Yeah. Why you keep putting me through this if you talking about retiring and going and sitting on the beach or drinking a bottle of 2 fingers of tequila, whatever you want to drink? Why you keep saying that and you still out here?
And the other thing is, and I'm not going to make too much of this, but I think it's a factor. He's gone through 2 high-profile breakups off the field, big high-profile star breakups, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so not easy.
Well, hey. But he won MVP. Let's give him breaking up with people that win an MVP. He might need to go get somebody else and break up with him and get another.
Maybe.
Hey, anybody out there?
There's an interesting
any single females
idea.
out there in Wisconsin? Nah, he wants superstars. He wants celebs.
He wants to go to Hollywood.
Yeah.
I am sure there's a long line, Shannon. I don't think he needs you to play matchmaker
I'll
for
play
him.
that
Next challenge
matchmaker.
for Aaron Rodgers, guys. It's the Eagles this Sunday night. Fox Bet has that line at 8.5. Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Subscribe here to get the very latest from Skip and Shannon. Plus, go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.